What's going on YouTube? So the last couple years have been extremely busy for Honda, with almost their entire lineup replaced recently. That includes their most popular and important models, such as the all-new Civic and all-new Accord. But this also brings up the age-old question again. Should you buy a fully loaded Civic or the bigger Accord at a lower trim level? Let's go ahead and answer that question right now. So for this rematch with the all-new models, let's go ahead and establish the pricing and equipment right from the start. Beginning with the Civic, we have the fully loaded model, called Touring. Honda doesn't really do options, except for paint, so that means the final price tag rings in at $31,140. Now for the all-new Accord, similar money is going to get you the mid-level Sport trim. That model has an as-tested price tag of $33,445, after optional paint and the destination charge. Now this is going to be an objective comparison. We have done our best to weigh the points awarded throughout in major and minor categories, but at the end of the comparison we will sum up with our thoughts and revisit the price difference for a value assessment. With that being said, let's get into the comparison. The Civic kicked off a new design direction for Honda, where things have been moving towards more mature and subdued designs. You can see that same philosophy in the new Accord. However, it still has a sportier look than the Civic, with a larger black mesh grille. Both of these models are pretty inexpensive, especially compared to most new cars these days. But thankfully, Honda doesn't make you sacrifice premium features such as full LED lighting on both. However, the Civic has LED fog lamps as well, which is something no longer offered on any version of the new Accord. Honda must think that size does matter because as we head to the sides, both models have grown over their previous generations. The Accord is about 10 inches longer overall than the Civic, which will factor in once we get into the interiors. Design-wise, they both have good proportions, but the Accord will give you larger wheels at 19s versus 18s. In the back, the designs are mostly similar, but as far as features, the Accord has full LED taillights, while the Civic has incandescent turn signals and reverse lights. Finally, both models have heated mirrors with blind spot monitoring, and all Hondas come standard with the 4 main active safety systems as well. If you're enjoying this comparison so far, we'd really appreciate it if you'd subscribe to help us keep making more videos like this. But now it's time to check out the more important cabins before we compare them out on the road. So first, walking up to the cars, both include smart entry systems with built-in remote start. And once we open up the doors, I think you'll be shocked at just how similar these two look. But before we dig into all the similarities and differences, let's first talk seating. First off, the top Civic will have leather seats, while the Accord Sport comes with full cloth seats. However, it's the Accord that has more adjustability, since it has 2-way lumbar support in addition to the 8 ways of power movement in the Civic. Finally, and very importantly for a lot of you guys in colder climates, the Accord Sport does not include heated seats, which the Civic does. Once inside, we can talk about cabin materials. Not only do they look similar, but they also feel similar. Honda is using a mixture of leatherette, soft touch plastics, and excellent build quality in both. After starting up the vehicles, both sedans have Honda's new 10-inch digital gauge cluster. And coming back to the steering wheels, they are both leather-wrapped and manual adjusting. The Civic also has rain-sensing wipers. Okay, so the next thing to talk about is interior storage. Interestingly, the smaller Civic has almost exactly the same storage bins, including the center console. One difference though is that the Civic has a wireless phone charging pad. Heading to the shifters, we have the same traditional kind. And when in reverse, we have backup cameras with guidelines, and additional parking sensors on the Civic. The next stop are the climate controls, where both sedans have dual-zone automatic functionality. And then after that, the audio systems. Let's go ahead and give them a sample. The new Accord is also available with a Bose premium sound system, but only on the top trim level, which is the same arrangement that the Civic uses. This branded sound system certainly sounds better. And now that brings us to the displays and infotainment systems. The top screen size in the Civic is 9 inches, while even the mid-level Accord comes with a new 12.3-inch display. This trim of Accord does not have the new infotainment software with Google Apps built in. But both Accord and Civic still have wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. In wrapping up the front of the cabins, the Civic Touring comes with HomeLink universal remotes and an auto-dimming mirror, and both of them have regular-sized sunroofs. But now let's head to the rear, which is where you're going to start seeing meaningful differences between them. Let's start with space. Both sedans are very large for their respective classes. But, as you'd expect, the Accord is bigger between them. It offers about 8% more legroom, although the headroom is almost exactly the same. Once in the back, we have some feature differences as well. Neither have vents, but we do have USB ports on the Civic. Accord also offers USB ports and even heated rear seats, but they require moving up the trim ladder. Just like the rear seats, Accord's extra size pays off in the trunk. It has 16.7 cubic feet versus 14.4 cubic feet in the Civic, which is nearly 15% more space for those of you who have a lot of stuff you need to haul around. Just be aware that only the Civic includes a spare tire. Alrighty, that's it for the interiors, so now let's see if one of them has a big advantage out on the road. For two siblings with tons of similarities, all that dries up when we get them out on the road. The reason why? Most trims of the new Accord, including the Sport model, are available as a hybrid only. Currently, the Civic is not available in hybrid form in the US, although it is coming. This means our touring Civic has a 1.5-liter turbo 4-cylinder, making 180 horsepower, while the Accord uses a 2-liter 4-cylinder paired with 2 electric motors to make 204 horsepower and 247 pound-feet of torque. As you would expect, that means the Accord is quite a bit faster, and the extra torque is especially felt.
Nice.
Alright, there we are. 60 miles per hour in the Accord Sport. So of course the big thing with this next generation Accord is the fact that most of the trim levels are going to be hybrid exclusive this year, and pretty much most of the trim levels that you're going to want to buy, just the lower two, are the gas powered exclusively. So that does mean we've got more power than the previous hybrid system because we've got the new generation, the 4th generation of Honda's 2-motor hybrid system. 204 horsepower, 247 pound-feet of torque. Like I said, both of those are going to be up from the previous generation of the hybrid system.
Yeah, and I definitely will say the nearly 250 pound-feet of torque definitely pushes you back in your seat as you accelerate off. And, we say this about a lot of hybrids, but you really can feel that over a gas-powered version, the initial torque that you get from the electric motors, kicking off. So it feels even spunkier than I think the power figures suggest.
We are accelerating up to about 60 miles per hour with this all-new generation of the Civic. So as far as the powertrain situation is concerned, it's actually very similar to the outgoing generation, with the same two engines. So we have the 2-liter engine on your lower two trim levels, and then on your upper two trim levels, you have the 1.5-liter turbo 4-cylinder. That's what we have today, and that's going to be making 180 horsepower, 177 pound-feet of torque. Now, the other aspect of the powertrain is the transmission. We have a CVT in the Civic and a eCVT in the Accord Hybrid. Mechanically, these are not the same, but overall operation feels similar in practice. Both of them use shift simulation to avoid drone, and neither of them are offered with all-wheel drive. What you do have on board is basically a eCVT, you could call it. It's not really a traditional CVT, but it does have performance kind of like a CVT. But the good thing that Honda has done here, compared to the previous generation, is add a nice shift simulation. So it does have more of a traditional feel when you're actually driving it out on the street. And especially when you go hard on the accelerator, you do go through those kind of simulated gear changes. Like I said, it's a little bit better on your ears than listening to a longer droning session, which is kind of what the previous generation would do. So I do think that's a nice improvement. So let's talk about the transmission. We've got a continuously variable transmission on board. There is no manual option for this sedan. One of the best things about Hondas in general is that they still prioritize having nice driving dynamics even in their ordinary cars. I'm happy to report that both sedans excel here, with agile chassis, balanced handling, and quick steering. So I went ahead and clicked the Accord into sport mode now that we're out on a canyon road here in California. And, historically, this has been one of my favorite things about the Accord, is that it puts driving dynamics a lot higher than some of the competition. Honda is always really good about kind of baking in those good handling characteristics, and the previous generation was very impressive in that regard. Now, behind the wheel of this new generation, I have to say I'm very happy with this as well. We're kind of going around some corners here, and I'm getting a feel of things, and I'm really liking what I'm feeling. We have great balance, very good body control, almost no body roll. Yeah, but let's go ahead and get into the dynamics of this, because Mason kind of started to talk about it, but they are stellar. Frankly, the Civic has always been just right up there as with the Mazda 3 basically as the best, and this here, it's even better than before. I mean, it seems crazy that they've actually made this better, but it really just stands far apart from the appliance competitors that are mostly out there. Ride quality wise, they are both comfortable, although they are on the stiffer side of each respective segment.
And as we open up out onto a highway, I do want to talk about this all-new Honda Accord's ride quality as well as just the overall comfort level. This is, of course, a mid-size sedan, so, we'll talk about the driving dynamics and all that as we get out into one of these canyon roads, but I think really most people are going to be concerned about the ride quality. And I'm happy to say that it does appear to be really, really good. We've hit a few holes in the road already, and this is the sport trim level, so you'd expect this to even have maybe a more stiff ride than the touring model, and it's doing a fantastic job. Soaks up the bumps really well. The seats are really comfortable. Honestly, Drew, I have no complaints.
We have included for your reference the sound level readings we captured for these two, although they can't directly be compared.
So here we are, 55. Pretty impressive. There we are, sitting at 56.6 decibels. And I will get a sound level reading going 55. The road is quite rough, so I wouldn't expect this to be too quiet. But
yeah, it's going to throw it off a little bit, I think.
$59.5.
Finally, as far as fuel economy, the hybrid Accord has a big advantage. It gets 10 mpg better combined, which translates to a lot of savings over the time you own it. Now, as promised, let's revisit the price difference. Since buyers at this price point are more money conscious, our scale indicates that we should award 2 points to the Civic to represent its $2,305 lower price. If money doesn't matter as much to you, feel free to disregard this part. So there you have it. The objective winner is the Civic, but who is your winner? Well, the Accord should be your winner if you value having maximum rear space, maximum cargo capacity, extra hybrid power, and excellent fuel economy. The Civic should be your winner if you value the affordable price tag, having more premium features for the money, or you don't like hybrids. So make sure to let us know your opinions down below in the comment section as to which one you would pick. We're very interested to see what you think. Anyway, thanks for joining us for another Car Confections comparison. And be sure to subscribe for more comparisons, full reviews, and coverage of all the latest automotive delicacies. Take care, and we'll see you next time.